From the Bob Mills Weather Center, the Oklahoma weather expert, Travis Meyer.
You might have noticed it's been warm here to kick off the month of November. Started out a little chilly this morning, as we said, but the afternoon ended up in the 70s. And look how warm it was up to the north of us. This was a huge warm up into southern Canada. And then you can see out to the west where it wasn't so warm. That's part of a difference between the yin and the yang of really cold versus really warm. And Canada now is starting to get cold as we get closer to the North Pole. We're sub-zero readings, not just sub-freezing. You can see a lot of Alaska is frozen stiff right now. And so there's a lot of cold air sitting up there. And so it's interesting because this is a big storm system that's coming in. And that's why it's so warm in advance of it and why it's so cold coming in out of the west coast. We also have travel advisories, winter storm warnings in several locations, all the way from the Wasatch Mountain Ranges right around the Salt Lake City area into the Rockies. And you see some expansion of that as that storm system starts to move in our direction. But before it gets here, we're going to have a combination of some clouds rolling in as we go through tomorrow, and then just breezy and mild. Late tomorrow night, early Friday morning, the beginning of that storm system starts to run into moist air and unsettled atmosphere and showers and thunderstorms. Again, that's early Friday morning. We'll just be breezy and mild through that time period with temperatures in the 60s in the morning. And then as we go through the daytime hours, it gets real interesting as what's going on. There's a band of showers and storms will be forming in southwestern Oklahoma and central portions of Texas. Dallas-Fort Worth is going to be kind of in trouble on Friday afternoon. There's some severe weather likely down there, even tornado risk. We'll have strong to severe thunderstorms early Friday morning across Kansas, and then that cold front starts to move across the region as we go into the afternoon. Some of these storms are going to have hail and wind, and an isolated tornado risk is going to be into Oklahoma as well. Highest probabilities are going to be from Tulsa south and down through Oklahoma City south, and that's where the meaty part of the storms, but there should be some hailstorms and some strong gusty winds to the north. So this will sweep through in the late afternoon evening time period with heavy rains and storms, and again embedded in this line could be some rotating thunderstorms that could produce some small spin-ups, so we're going to be watching for that also in advance of that line. Then eventually through the early evening hours they'll start to move east of Tulsa and move into western Arkansas, and then finally start to clear the area by about 10 to 11 o'clock at night. That's why a lot of high school football games, they decided tomorrow night's a better night than it is on Friday night. So the risk is there for a few strong to isolated severe storms. Highest probability is going to be in the south, central, and southeast parts of our area. So just be aware for Friday, but we're going to have to watch out here in Tulsa just in case as well. Here's the latest update on storm chances. They're going to be the highest as we go into late afternoon and then into the 7 o'clock hour right in Tulsa. A little bit later, if you're east of Tulsa, our chances drop off fairly fast once that line of storms goes through. So the chance of heavy rain, not that great. Large hail, isolated tornadoes, there is a small chance of that. If you're south, you're a little bit closer to a moderate chance of some bigger size hail. And we're talking about, again, not a lot of heavy rain because this storm system is getting shunted further east, but that still means that part of our viewing area, especially from Highway 69 tonight through the east, looks like the best places for heavier rain. Unfortunately, we want to get a bunch of rain up in Osage County, Pawnee counties, and up to the north and west. A half inch to an inch if we're lucky, but hey, it's rain. Then over the weekend, turns nice, 60s, and we're looking at maybe 70s on Sunday. Beautiful fall weather. You put up some Christmas lights or do something before we actually get some of that real cold air, and then you wish that you would have done it when it was warm. So the odds of rain are the highest on our Friday and late or into early Friday night. And then as we go on into Thursday of next week, we do have a chance with another boundary coming through. Overall, you'll see the ups and downs that are associated with this time of year as cold fronts will be sweeping through. And as we get into late next week and around Veterans Day, it's going to be a little bit on the colder side. Temperatures right now sitting at 63 degrees, 75% humidity. Our forecast looks like this: 58 in the morning, chilly to cool, but 70 at noontime. Again, for this time of year, that's warm. 70s, very strong winds. 15 could be gusting to 30 miles per hour. High school football game temperatures are going to be awesome. The winds are about the only negative that we have out of the whole thing. Then we have that chance of rain, which is not a negative. We need it. And then you see awesome weather as we go into next week with that slight chance of storms again late next week. And don't forget daylight saving time Saturday night and Sunday morning. But speaking of high school football and everything else, it's time for sports. And Jonathan.